There is something happening inside you when you listen to Stray Kids that most people miss on the first listen. You hear a track, you feel the energy, you catch the rhythm, and you think it is just another catchy high-energy song. But if you have been following this group long enough, you have learned one fundamental rule. Stray Kids never does anything by accident. When the unit released This and That, the surface reaction was immediate. A fun track, dynamic contrast, a choice between two things. But if you felt a different kind of chill while listening, if you realized there was something uncomfortable, brilliant, and strangely liberating underneath the beat, you were not imagining it. Today, we are going to slow down and look at what is hidden beneath the surface of This and That. Because what Three Racker did here is not just wordplay or a verse battle. It is a brilliant deconstruction of how the modern world forces us to choose sides, and how Stray Kids uses their art to refuse every single box. At first glance, pop music loves binaries. It is always this or that, right or wrong, strong or vulnerable, light or dark. Modern culture constantly pushes us towards simple labels. Pick your identity, pick your side, define who you are in a single word. And that is where the genius of This and That begins. The song starts by setting up the premise of a dilemma. It feels like a simple conversation about opposites. But as the production progresses, the sonic structure begins to play with your mind. The rhythm behind this pulls tension into the track. The response in that shatters expectations. They are not presenting two paths for us to choose one. They are sonically reproducing the exact mental friction we live through every single day. The exhausting internal dialogue between what we want to do and what we are expected to do. To understand why this song is so smart, you have to look at Three Racha's production signature. Bang Chan and Changbin, along with Han, do not write songs from standard studio formulas. They write from movement. In This and That, the tempo variations, the strategic pauses, and the shifting rap flows are not just aesthetic choices, they are psychological tools. When a rap line speeds up and demands your full attention, it simulates urgency. When the arrangement drops into a sustained tone, it simulates hesitation. The music forces your brain to float between two states of mind. There is no passive listening here. You are pulled directly into the debate. It is a duel of personalities and ideas where nobody loses, because the ultimate point is not to win the argument, but to prove that human complexity cannot be reduced to a single-line answer. And that is why Stray Kids fans react to this track in a fundamentally different way. So often in our personal and professional lives, we are squeezed into obligations. You are expected to be the serious adult at work, but you want to keep your passion alive. You are expected to project certainty while still carrying doubts and questions. Society tells you that you cannot be this and that at the same time. When Stray Kids takes that exact tension and turns it into pulsing art, something inside you releases. The relief of listening to This and That comes from recognition. It is the validation that you do not have to shrink into a single version of yourself to be authentic. You can be the intensity of aggressive rap and the vulnerability of a melodic chorus. You can be the chaos and the order. Stray Kids took a concept that looked like a casual unit track and turned it into a subtle manifesto about creative and personal freedom. Ordinary groups use unit tracks to fill space on an album or showcase visual contrast between members. Stray Kids uses unit tracks to expand the entire conceptual universe of the group. In This and That, you see artists at the absolute peak of their technical mastery. The chemistry is not just vocal, it is conceptual. They bounce ideas off each other with the precision of creators who have been producing together for nearly a decade. There is no ego fighting for space on the track. There is only a shared vision of how to transform an abstract idea into something that sticks in your mind forever. It is the kind of musical intelligence that does not need to shout to be noticed. It lives in the sound design, in the subtext of the lyrics, and in the energy that lingers long after the music stops. Stray Kids did it again. They took something the industry would turn into a shallow cliché and delivered a work filled with layers, attitude, and raw intelligence. They do not ask permission to shift styles. They do not apologize for refusing to fit expectations. They simply build their own space, right between this and that. If you want to go deeper into the discography, the lyrics, and the hidden layers of meaning behind every Stray Kids era, the complete guides are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment with what this and that means to you, and I will see you in the next deep dive.